essence of the Adhoc committee, we heard that you made request that financing for the safe school initiative should be moved from finance ministry to Ministry of Education. Can you please expatiate further on that?
Yeah, thank you, members of the press. I just came to answer the invitation by the Senate Adhoc Committee on Safe School Initiative and Safe School Financing, chaired by most distinguished Senator Oji Uzor Kalu. You were there with us at the committee meeting, attended by other senators as well. They wanted us to come and account for the funds that was given, both appropriated funds and international grant funds that was donated to Nigeria to the safe school financing. Everybody will recall the unfortunate incident of the Chibok kidnapping that happened almost close to 10 years ago, or a little bit about that. We got a lot of international support, a lot of funds came in. At that time, that was when the safe school financing was set up and was domiciled at the Federal Ministry of Finance. They were entirely responsible for the disbursement of every single amount of money that was donated or granted to federal government of Nigeria, then to pursue a safe school initiative agenda. Also, a few years ago, there was some appropriated money as well that was targeted appropriation to the Nigerian Police Force, the Civil Defense Corps, and I think one other section of the Armed Forces. That also disbursement was by the Federal Ministry of Finance. So the accountability, responsibility that's been pushed on us today is that me as Minister of Education, even I wasn't the minister then when all these disbursements were done. I still have the responsibility to come and report to the Senate because we have to be accountable to the citizens of Nigeria. We have to account for every single fund that belongs to them, and that's why I'm here today with the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Education, and you also saw the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Finance came, as well as a few Director of Safe School Financing in the Federal Ministry of Finance and Director of Safe School Initiative in the Federal Ministry of Education. The Minister of Finance was on his way, but I think he was called for another meeting, but he will come back and meet the committee. I gave you the preview, the background there to answer your question. We at the Federal Ministry of Education, we have the privilege, the honor of the ministry responsible for coordinating policy, implementation, monitoring of education of the country education system. And when you talk about safe school initiative, safe school financing, the Federal Ministry of Education, in tandem with all the sub-national Ministry of Education, we are the ones that have the children, we are the ones that direct the policy, we are the ones that implement at state level, we are the ones that monitor outcomes and make sure that what do we need to do. So it's ironical why safe school financing should be domiciled at the Ministry of Finance. And when I came in as the Minister of Education, I wrote to the then Finance Minister of Education, Honorable Mr. Wale, that this safe school finance should be moved to Ministry of Education. He wanted to do it, but then within the chartering of his ministry, it got stopped, and they said, but then we have to move as a government. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given us a mandate to ensure that every single child in a school system is safe, from the foundational level of education to the tertiary level of education. And today we have a president that believes fervently and benevolently in education. And to whom much is given, much is expected. The president has given us all the resources that we need, all the political support that we need. Then we have to deliver on this agenda. If we don't have patience, the president wants Nigeria, citizens of Nigeria, to benefit from every single dividend of democracy. And that's why we're proactive in setting up a new safe school department at the Federal Ministry of Education. I have to commend the my permanent secretary, Mr. Benito, for working so hard. We wrote to the minister, to the head of service, to get approval for creating that unit. Now, the Safe School initiative is now domiciled at the Federal Ministry of Education. So we're doing it now in a way as we move along into the future to put a robust policy together, and not just policy alone, also to implement programs that will keep our schools safe. We're working closely with the National Security Advisor, the Director General DSS as well as the other security, the other armed forces and the police to put up a comprehensive plan, both in terms of the entire plan, using technology and implementation. We know we have to do this together. We can't have an isolated or fragmented school safe initiative program in the country. But what we now have that we have the command and control center in terms of policy, the implementation at the Federal Ministry of Education. And we're very aware that there is a bigger component of keeping the children in school, which is the security component. That the security, the armed forces will be involved. But there are other components of safe school agenda that include simple things like, not simple things, infrastructure like fencing, putting solar lighting, even wash facility, ensuring the facilities in which our children go to school is safe, and also recruiting security for the security officers in our schools, and also using technology. Today, we also have to use technology. So a lot of when we talk about safe school financing, it's a panoply of multiple components, and you need a command and control center to coordinate that. Everybody will do their work. We're not going to take the work of the armed forces. It's not what their duty, but we're a responsible ministry. We have to put on the policy, the guidelines in place for the subnational government and ensure that those are the implementation is cascaded down to to each school at the world level and at the school level. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of the government directs the policy and of the federal for policy on education for the entire country, carry the subnational government and all. So just this year, we created a full safe school unit department and federal ministry of education. But the reason why you invited us here today was how those funds that were grant money, donation money from federal government, from foreign government, and the appropriated money from our budget was spent. We know very well all these disbursements happen before I had the privilege of being Minister of Education for Federal Government of India. Those disbursements happened almost 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I can tell you today, since President Bola Tinubu was sworn in, there's never been the only disbursement that happened, I think, probably in the last 3 years ago was the targeted disbursement that was given to the police, Nigeria Police Force, the National Civil Defense Corps, and I believe a bit of that money went to one of the other armed forces units. But those disbursements were done entirely by the foreign ministry of finance. That for us in the Federal Ministry of Education, I think we got a bit of targeted funding, which we can account for that when we go into our private meeting. The whole, what we're now doing is a total restructuring of the safety financing, moving it also to the Ministry of Education. And once we continue, once we put a full plan in place, I'll be happy to come back to you to really discuss exhaustively on the plan. Carry the National Security Agency along with us. So I'll close again by just reiterating what you said earlier. All this, the reason why you brought us there about this funding were discussed before I came in as Minister for But then government, they continue, would have, whereas would have the responsibility to report to every single citizen in this country how their funds were managed. And further conversation will be held in camera and before. Thank you, distinguished Senator Adhoc.
Thank you very much. We are trying to do the committee. We have now reached an understanding that there are some money given to you, which you are very much ready to account for. There was equally an initiative that government is all about continuity, and we are very much ready to account what has happened even before we are there. And at the same time, over here, that is the committee at the committee level, we felt we have a responsibility of keeping the secret of government a secret. And so therefore, I'm not surprised when the chairman said that it is very necessary that we go into a closed meeting, no matter how short it could be. It's far more useful than taking whatever it is to the open. Because we are saying safe schools, we are trying to see how we can keep our schools safe. So therefore, whatever we are going to discuss should not be public consumption for now. So thank you, Mr. Minister, for the understanding.
Professor, and my oath to concur, we are just doing what we are supposed to do as parliamentarians. It was discovered at the point that what was meant to be a good approach to save our schools initiative, some persons at some point in time abused the structure, the system, the processes, and being responsible persons as parliamentarians, Senate, in her considered opinion, set up this Adhoc committee, not to which hunt, again, not to which hunt anybody, but to see that the core objective, what was at the back of government in coming up with this initiative, is done accordingly. So I appreciate the coming of the minister, and like my chairman said, the government is a continuum. What others did, which was not to his knowledge, he has now inherited it. You cannot say because he was not there, we will leave this to go into cooler. We have to do this so that others who are coming after him and subsequent persons who may occupy similar positions will take responsibility for their actions. So we are doing what we are supposed to do, and I appreciate the minister who is equally on top of the game. I appreciate you, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity. You are welcome.
By the executive and refuse to listen to this parliament will make his work very difficult, or any director general or anybody, because you are accountable to the people, and the people is not Mr. President. The people is this parliament, this people's parliament. I want to thank you always. Members of your committee in the Senate have your highest, that you always attend to committee calling. And any minister who thinks that he can make our job difficult, we will not allow him to continue with that. We will deal with him ruthlessly. The law is a constitutional mandate by this committee, and they must listen to us, and they are answerable to the people of Nigeria, and this is the seat of people of Nigeria. Where they can't tell us, oh, we are waiting for president, we are going to answer president. We will not take this rubbish, because president will not call ministers every day. There is executive councils. Unless president calls any minister quietly, and we can pardon those ones. My honourable minister of finance, I just giving us he attending somewhere else, and it's on his way coming. So I want to thank you most sincerely, like the enormous respect you Dr. Alausa have for the Senate, and the Senate will always give you back that respect, because you come on time, you listen to them, and you go back. And this is the interaction. We are not killing anybody here. You come to see the Senate. I want to thank the leadership of the Senate, represented by Senator Godswill Akpati, for appointing this committee, and also thank you for coming. We will now get back to a closed session and wait for Minister of Finance. So you don't go. Minister of Finance is coming. That